featuring cutting-edge science and medical innovations, touching personal stories of recovery from pain, and political issues plaguing our healthcare. This is American Medicine Today, brought to you by the Bonati Spine Institute and Alfred Bonati, MD.
Welcome to American Medicine Today. I'm Ethan Euchre.
And I'm Kimberly Brummel. We're here at an engineering shop in Tampa, Florida with Fadi Shamma, founder and CEO of SensaLife, a company that has created a new device to prevent children from being left in hot cars. Thank you for being here with us.
Thank you for joining us today.
So tell us a little bit about your background. How did you get into inventing? Have you ever invented anything previously?
Originally, I'm a pharmacist. I've been practicing for 10 years now. I met with a friend and neighbor of mine who's an engineer. And as our children played, they're both 3-year-old boys. As they played together, we were talking about all the cases that we've been hearing about in the news. A lot of children being injured or losing their lives to being left in hot cars. So I told Jim, hey, you're a great engineer. You love to invent things. Let's come up with a permanent solution to this major problem that we see every year.
How much of a problem is it? Because when Ethan had first told me about SensaLife, my thought was, I have a 7-year-old, and not one time in those 7 years have I ever forgotten she was in the car with me.
In fact, I even said to you, Kimberly, just yesterday, I said, I don't have children. I said, I've never left a box of popsicles in my car because I'm aware, hey, I got popsicles in the car. Let's not leave them in there to melt.
Sure, just some facts. 1 child dies every 9 days in the U.S. alone. And that's not counting globally.
Thousands more are hospitalized due to heat stroke or heat-related injuries.
And also, I know you don't have children, but I'm sure a lot of people have pets.
I do.
And our technology, we built it so that it can also be used to protect pets.
18 children have lost their lives in hot vehicles.
Yes.
This year.
Just two just in the last 3 days.
And it was actually, that's more than double last year's.
Yes, at this time last year, we were at 7. So we're at 18 already, and the summer is just beginning, and it's getting a lot hotter out there.
The problem's getting worse and worse.
Worse and worse, and we're seeing a lot more cases of also hospital visits. And my wife, who's a pediatrician at the local hospital, has seen a rising amount of cases.
It doesn't even have to be that hot out. Children can die from heat stroke when outside temperatures are as low as 50 degrees, even with the windows cracked.
I don't know about you, Ethan, but I remember as a child, my parents leaving us in the car and saying, roll down the windows, sometimes with the car running, we'll be back, we're just going to do some grocery shopping. But what I've learned from you and the crew here is that in 60 and 70 degree weather, that can be enough to kill or harm a child.
Yes, and there's a lot of myths that it has to be 100 degrees outside. Like you said, we've had 2 deaths this year where the high of the day was 60 and 70 in northern states, and this was back in May. The summer hasn't even started.
Well, you got to think about it. It's like a greenhouse. It's the greenhouse effect. With the windows up and the sun beating in, it doesn't have to be hot outside for it to get super heated inside.
And there's another myth that, hey, if I leave my windows cracked, that it'll be okay. Absolutely not. Not even for 1 minute. The car still rises above 100 degrees, even with windows cracked.
And that brings up another point. You have your children in there, nobody's around. How do you know your kids aren't going to get kidnapped?
Exactly. That's another reason we don't, it's not just for hot car deaths or cold cars. It's more for a safety device like a seatbelt. We don't want you to leave your child in there not for 1 minute, or your pet, because yes, they can see a child in there unattended. Somebody can either kidnap them or drive off with the car not knowing the child's back there, and you have multiple problems now.
Unattended pets, including police dogs, are also a big problem.
What about pets? You had said, I said, I don't need one. You said, do you have pets? I said, yes. How do you protect your pets?
Just to give you some numbers, we've had 4 canines lost in the last 2 weeks. 2 or 3 of them are actually police dogs. It's just as big of a problem, and globally. And so our technology, our pen technology, was developed so it's easily also used for a pet device, which we are working on. And with the right funding and the right partnerships with big companies, we can bring this again for every pet.
There are current options available to avoid this problem, but none of them are permanent solutions.
So what was the thought process like behind designing SensaLife?
We looked at the last 10 years, what's been out on the market, the research, the development, and we noticed a lot of people have tried to solve this problem because nobody wants to see a child or a pet lost. So a lot of the stuff out there is very temporary. So using our 25+ year experience in engineering and other friends who are in the business and consultants, we decided to go more of a permanent solution.
SensaLife hopes to be installed in every car and car seat as a standard, just like seatbelts.
We went through 3-4 multiple prototypes till we got to a perfect market-ready solution.
This is a device that will trigger an app on a cell phone, correct?
Sure. Well, originally, before it gets to the app, it's a two-part system. It's all wireless.
Their simplistic design was originally aimed for a quick upgrade on any vehicle while it was being manufactured. However, they quickly discovered that its wireless design made it easy enough for absolutely anyone to install in just a matter of seconds.
My grandmother does it in less than 30 seconds. She's amazing. So you can move it from car to car very easily. No wiring whatsoever to any vehicle or to the car seat itself. Our optical sensors that go right under the driver's seat will read the driver exiting the vehicle. As soon as the driver opens that door, you will get a loud vocal alert on the device itself that will say, please remove the child.
Occupant detected in car seat. Please remove child from the seat.
An app alert is simultaneously sent to both devices, the module under the driver's seat as well as the phone, and will continue to alert the driver until the child is removed. If no action is taken, a secondary alert is sent to an emergency contact.
We want to catch the driver right there. We don't want to wait till they're down the street.
It only requires 2 pounds of pressure to activate SensaLife's sensor, which is how much an infant legally has to weigh before leaving the hospital. Most babies are at least 5 to 6 pounds.
We want it to be used immediately when the child is removed from the hospital.
Other options on the market require 20 to 30 pounds, rendering them useless to a large number of small children and babies.
So you're missing out on a lot of your population.
And that's when they're the most vulnerable.
Exactly,
too.
Because, at that age, they're asleep, they're in the back of the car, plus they're rear-facing. Ever since laws were changed to make them rear-facing to protect the child from accidents, a lot more people are forgetting their children because they're asleep and you can't see them in your rearview mirror. So in the first 2 years is where you see most of your deaths.
If a person is that irresponsible that they don't realize, hey, my kid's in the car, they're not going to buy this and they're not going to download the app. They're not going to go through the whole process because they're clearly an irresponsible human being.
And that's a great point. And that's why we are talking to regulators. We're talking to .orgs. We've talked to car manufacturers themselves and said, please have this simple device. And again, our engineers are top-notch engineers. They made this so it's so easy to implement into any car or car seat that there's no reason why we shouldn't have this in every seat just for peace of mind. No matter who's watching the child, if grandma's watching the child that day, something may happen with her, or a change in routine, or just a simple mistake, which we all can make because we are all human.
How long did it take from concept to fruition?
It took about 16 months because we prototyped the device. And as you can see, we use engineering shops like this.
You use the 3D printer, you and Jim, to actually make the product itself.
Sure,
so.
and this is the kind of engineer that I'm working with, who I'm happy to call my friend and partner, Jim Friedman. He has been very innovative from day one in his career, and we actually developed a 3D printer just to help us prototype all this and to test our multiple prototypes. Again, we didn't want another gimmick or a key fob or wiring into your vehicle. We wanted something that's a permanent solution to a big problem. And I don't want to hear of another death next year. Hopefully by next year, we're going to have 0 deaths.
Let's hope so.
If someone wants to get involved and help the cause, how do they do so?
Sure, there's multiple ways. You can reach out directly to me through our website, through our email, through our Facebook page. We answer every message from every loyal follower immediately. So please reach out to us, and we are in talks with car manufacturers and car seat manufacturers because I don't want a customer to go out of their way to pay for this thing.
Sure.
Even though it is going to be affordable, because we still want it available as a standalone device because people already have car seats, people already have cars. There's 99 million cars on the road right now. We don't expect everybody to get a new car.
Correct.
So we want the standalone device available for those people also at a very affordable price. That way it's not, in these financial times, a burden on anybody.
Thank you, Fatty, for pointing out that SensaLife can save a life. Make sure you stay tuned, because coming up after the break, our Back to Life segment.